Hi everyone. Welcome to the very first episode of Apples to Oranges. I'm Gabriel, your host, and in this series, we're diving into topics or events that sound super similar on the surface, like, hey, that's basically the same thing. But when you peel back the layers, they're actually worlds apart. We all know how easy it is to conflate stuff in today's fast-paced world, especially with social media throwing opinions at us left and right. So, let's clear up the confusion, one comparison at a time. Today, we're tackling a hot-button issue that's been buzzing online. The case of Office Depot workers who got fired for refusing to print materials related to Charlie Kirk versus a baker who refused to make a cake celebrating a gay marriage. People are screaming hypocrisy, especially at conservatives, saying you can't have it both ways. But here's the twist. These aren't the same thing at all. Both involve freedoms like association and expression, sure. But the contexts, the players, and the consequences are totally different. Stick around as we break it down. First, let's set the stage with the facts in each case, starting with the Office Depot incident. Just a couple of weeks ago, on September 13th, 2025, a video went viral showing employees at an Office Depot in Portage, Michigan, refusing to print posters for a vigil honoring the late conservative activist Charlie Kirk, who was tragically murdered. The customer wanted flyers advertising the event, but the workers called it propaganda and declined to process the order. Office Depot investigated, and at least one employee was fired as a result. The company issued a statement emphasizing their policy against discrimination and commitment to serving all customers. Public reaction split down the middle. Some praised the workers for standing by their beliefs. Others called for boycotts, arguing it was a free speech violation. Now, flip the page to the baker's story. This one's back in 2012, but it made it all the way to the Supreme Court in 2018. Jack Phillips, owner of Masterpiece Cakeshop in Colorado, refused to create a custom wedding cake for a same-sex couple, citing his religious beliefs against gay marriage. He offered other pre-made items, but drew the line at custom work that he felt compelled him to express a message he disagreed with. The couple filed a complaint and led to a legal battle. The Supreme Court ruled 7-2 in Phillips' favor, saying the Colorado Civil Rights Commission showed hostility towards his religion and violated his free exercise rights. It was a win focusing more on the Commission's bias than a blanket right to refuse service. So why do people lump these together? Well, because both look like refusals based on personal beliefs, and that's sparking debates about discrimination, free speech, and rights. On the surface, it's both refuse service, both should or should not face consequences. But it's not exactly that simple. Let's slice into why this is comparing apples to oranges. Core difference number 1, employee versus owner. In the Office Depot case, we're talking about hourly workers in a copy and print department. Their job? To print customer orders as long as they're legal and follow company guidelines. They're not the bosses. They represent Office Depot, a big corporation with policies to serve everyone without bias. Refusing an order like that directly jeopardizes the company's business, reputation, and bottom line. And guess what? Employers have the right to fire employees who don't fulfill their duties or who violate policy. Contrast that with the baker. Jack Phillips owns Masterpiece Cakeshop. It's his business, his rules. He gets to decide what custom creations his shop produces because it's tied to his personal expression and beliefs. He's not forcing a corporation to bend. He's steering his own ship. Difference number 2, freedom of expression and association in context. Both sides claim free speech and association rights, and neither's wrong. The Office Depot workers had the freedom to express their disagreement by refusing. But as employees, they don't get to hijack the company's voice. Printing a customer's poster isn't them endorsing it. It's facilitating the customer's expression. Forcing them to print might feel like compelled speech, but courts have generally held that speech at neutral service jobs doesn't cross the line the same way. For the baker, though, creating a custom cake is artistic expression. The Supreme Court noted that wedding cakes can convey messages, so refusing wasn't just about service. It was about not being forced to create art that clashed with his faith. Freedom of association lets owners choose what their business aligns with. Employees associate with the company by choice, but they can't redefine its stance based on personal opinion. And here's the big one, difference number 3. Consequences and who bears the risk. The workers exercised their rights, but the consequence was getting fired. Why? Because they put someone else's business at risk, the corporations. You have the right to refuse, but not the right to stick your employer with the fallout, like lost sales or bad PR. You don't have a right to a job. The baker, he's jeopardizing his own business. Lawsuits, boycotts, whatever, he owns it, literally. He has the right to accept those hits because it's his livelihood on the line. That's autonomy. So when people accuse conservatives of hypocrisy for supporting the baker, but not the workers, it's missing the point. It's not about the belief, it's about the position. Conservatives support everybody's right to free speech, as long as they're willing to accept the consequences. The business owner has a right to speak for himself and his business, knowing that a potential consequence is losing his business. Workers are allowed to speak for themselves and only themselves, as long as they accept that losing their job is a potential consequence. So why does this matter? Conflating these two muddies important discussions on rights. For employees, it's about balancing personal convictions with job responsibilities. For owners, it's navigating values in a diverse society. And for all of us, it's understanding where free speech protects us and where it doesn't. So, next time you see a headline comparing a fired worker to a defiant owner, ask yourself, who's really paying the price for the speech? And that's a wrap on our first Apples to Oranges. If this got you thinking, hit that like button, subscribe for more episodes where we separate the similar from the seriously different, and drop a comment. Do you see the distinction? Is there another angle? Do you disagree? Thanks for watching, and remember, not all fruits are created equal. See you next time.